pick the brain. I call it the Sales Success Panel. So each year I might invite some folks up that might be in a certain niche, different style, some sort of sales process that we can maybe, I'm going to go interview them, ask them a few questions about what they do, how they do it. We're going to just raise our hands. So we're just going to try something different, shake things up a little. I'm going to invite, I did kind of catch them off guard here, but so they're going to support Alejandro. Come on up. Amy, come on up. Karen, come on up. Dennis, Neil, E2B guy, get up here. Dennis, come on up on the stage. Let's give these folks a hand for sharing. No particular order, sit wherever you want. You get comfortable. What a gentleman. Oops. So I'm going to hand you guys this mic. So, you're in the first chair, so you get dignity first. You guys know Amy. She's great. She's been coming here for a long time. She drives her business. When I first gave my hunter-gatherer speech, she goes, Dan, I'm a hunter. I get out there. So I go, you know, Amy, I don't know if anybody really knows what you do, but every month she just keeps bringing it in. So in a nutshell, Amy, can you first tell us how do you make sales? What do you do when you on a daily basis? What's your routine on how to get leads, and what are you focusing on? What do you lead with?
Hi, everybody. So, I'm Amy, for everybody, as he said, that doesn't know me. He said at the beginning of this meeting, you know, he has people who do the prospecting, then he has people who do the selling, then he has that. I do everything, unfortunately, but it works for me because I think my customers appreciate the fact that I'm there with them from soup to nuts. So I basically do the prospecting myself. I go door to door. I just try to introduce myself. That's my main goal, is to say, hi, this is who I am. These are the services that I provide. Can I help you with any of them? So that's my primary goal initially, is just to introduce myself, get my foot in the door, and see how I can then earn their business, get an appointment, and then sell whatever service that they need to have in place.
Okay, I think what we'll do is to do a brief description like that through, and then I have some questions, they might have some questions, and we'll come back and ask you questions about that process. Neil, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hi, so we've been around for a while. We have a varied portfolio. When we started, it was retail, restaurant, with people that would take credit cards, and we were knocking on doors and doing what we do. And we still got, I don't know the numbers, maybe half or so of our portfolio is still that old. A number of years ago, my partner and I, Rich, we made a decision to push into the B2B marketplace that, everybody tells you have to find a niche market, and that's where the industry's going, and all this and all that. And we agree. We see now with the POS people, coming into this, and because they see credit card processing is a good opportunity to make money. And we saw with our retail restaurant, people were knocking on their doors every day, 1,000 phone calls, people showing up. Very, very competitive. Profit margins shrinking, and it was very, very difficult. So we went into the B2B. It's like anything else. It's a little bit different, but if you can sell, you can sell. It's nice to know a little bit about your product, what you're doing. Absolutely. This is interchange chart. I call it my Bible. I take it with me wherever I go. My wife looks at me sometimes and you're afraid that. But really, things change. But this is a really important tool to have somewhat of an understanding with. Whether you're in retail or restaurant or petroleum or B2B, whatever it may be, because you can make a lot of money by having an understanding of this. Often, I'll win the clients or even existing customers will come back to me. I'm interchanging 35. Guy told maybe $200,000 a month. He goes to a trade show or he's part of an association. They say, we're being solicited by someone who does business with a lot of our customers, and he can come in and interchange in 20 and save us thousands of dollars. And I go through the conversation. I show them on their statements where with us they're getting level 3 data rate 3 pricing, which, as we said yesterday, is 80, 90 points to start cheaper than what others can offer. So I showed them where that $200 or $300 a month savings that they believe they're being offered is actually going to cost them $1,000, $2,000 a month. And by the way, who are those other customers that you're sending, friends of yours that are with this other competitor? Because if you really like them, let's save them money too. and you take lemons and lemonade and away you go. But that's because we have a little bit of an understanding. We use PayTrace as the gateway now that we use because it can automate that level 2, level 3 data, which means that whatever gateway that customer, again, the B2B, most of the gateways are now using, whoever does the processing for them can do exactly what they're doing now, enter in account number, expiration date, billing zip code, a couple other items, and get the lower rates automatically. They look at you, so we can do the same thing, just lock them to different gateways, save a lot of money, and some other features that it offers, and it's nice. It's a stickier business, higher profit margins, and all that stuff. Thank you.
Alejandro Spavey, I'm with Servion Systems out of Brooklyn. Our headquarters is in Tarrytown. We have 3 offices. We have the Tarrytown office, we have the South Florida office in Plantation, which is close by to Fort Lauderdale, as well as the Philadelphia office. So I'm closest to our headquarters in Tarrytown. What I like to do to prepare myself on a daily basis is really get a good understanding of who I want to talk to, who my target market is. So we focus primarily on restaurants. There's a ton of different types of restaurants in our markets, highly saturated, QSRs, fast casual, chains, full service restaurants. I want to go after the bigger restaurants, full service restaurants. So on my daily basis, I might go walk past 5 QSR restaurants and I might walk into the full service restaurant. The second thing that I always do as well is I like to be prepared. Like Neil, he has his Bible here. I have my mobile device brochure in my pocket here. I have a pen, so I'm always ready to sign a deal. And I always have business cards on me in my pocket, no matter where I am. If it's with my family or if I'm out with friends, I always have my stuff to sell with me as well. And then I also think it's important just to have a positive mindset. So just, when we're talking about, starting the day, what are you doing on a daily basis? Just looking for those customers that you want to do business with, and also those people who want to do business with you. And so most of my business that I get is not really as much knocking on the doors as much, because my day-to-day is very busy on the management side. But I'm really looking for those key clients that are going to send me referrals, and I'm going to contact them maybe once or twice a week. It might just be a text message saying, hey, how are you doing? But I'd like to say on the relationship side, I have a very close relationship with my clients.
Great, thank you.
My name is Dennis. I work with Dan out of Dan's office in Minneapolis. What I do specific in selling of POS systems to restaurants, bars, grills, pizzerias, diners, and so forth. But I do everything strictly online. So I don't go out on calls. I don't, visit people person to person. So I have a gal in our office named Carissa. She's an excellent telesales rep, if you will. So she's on the phone. She prospects. She calls all these different bars and restaurants and diners and that type of thing all over in different states. So one of the big things for me is that we're calling on in areas where salespeople usually don't travel to. Most of you, if you're close to a big city, there's so much opportunity that is, northern part of your state and these small little, I call them podunk towns that are all over your state, and they really don't get called on. Nobody's really chasing after them. So when I call them on the phone, most of them don't have POS systems. A lot of them want them or they've thought about getting them, but nobody's been pounding on their door trying to sell them one. So I take them through an actual online demo, and for some of you in here, later I can give you the login site of the demo that I take people. Dan and I created an online demo that takes them from company background and all the different slides and needs analysis questions, and everything is just laid out in that demo. So for some of you that want that login information, so you can kind of check that type of a demo out. That's what I do. She sets my appointments in the office. Every day I've got live demos to do. My demo can take me anywhere from an hour and a half to a lot of times over 2 hours that I'll have people on the phone with me. And when she sets the appointment, it's all based on, we just want to take you through a 20-minute demo. But, people are usually pretty excited about what you're showing them, and they see the value in it, so they'll stay on the phone with you forever. So I usually an hour and a half to 2 hours is a demo, and then when I'm done, I lead them through a series of steps, which we can talk about, but eventually I end up selling them, and I sign them up over the phone. We use DocuSign. Anybody ever heard of the DocuSign? So we use that. Everything's all laid out in it. I fill it in, I email it to them, they open it up. I go through the details with them and tell them, click here, click there, and it's done. So, but everything I do is all strictly online.
Hi, I'm Karen, and I work for IMG Services office, which is Milburn and Jackie's office out of Prosperity, South Carolina, but I don't have the privilege of living in the South. I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Gosh, it's been about 7 years now that I've been back up north. And I do very much the same with soup and nuts as far as, excuse me, I do everything myself. I find the prospects, I talk to them, I sign them up, I service those customers with whatever it is that they happen to need, and in our area, I think that that's part of what has allowed me to be successful, is just when I'm talking to them, I just explain to them, it's me. You're going to get great rates, you can sell at a rate or whatever, but in the end, you're going to get me. So if something goes down, something's not working right, you have a question, you think you have a duplicate transaction, whatever it might be, call me. And they have a special number that they can call, they get through to me, they can go about their business while I fix whatever issue it happens to be. I can call the processor, I can hang on the line, waiting for the processor, get them to answer the question, and then get back to them. And that's a little bit harder to sell up front because they don't have that experience. Am I really going to do what I say? But eventually you earn their trust, they start to experience it, and then the word gets out. And the one thing that I do different, I do all referral based. I have never knocked on a door. I will not knock on a door. I hate knocking on doors. It's not me. I'm very uncomfortable doing that. I would prefer to just do all referral based, go out, network with groups. I'm in a B2B group now. I have been a BNI for years, which is where I built a lot of my business from. And now it's just referrals from my existing customers. And those are the best relationships for me. They've lasted the longest, and that's just how I work my business. That's just been the easiest thing.
Super, super. So we're going to do one more quick round and then open it up for questions. So starting with you, Amy, you mentioned you go out and when you're prospecting and you knock door to door, do you pretty much walk in with nothing in your hand?
I walk in with my business cards and my cell phone in case I get a call from a customer.
And you mentioned you kind of look and see what their needs might be, because you're focused on whether it be point of sale, and you're selling mainly Clover. Like, what would be your mainstay, Clover or terminal?
So I do some of it all. I do a lot of QSR. With Clover, yes.
So you want to talk to the owner or the manager typically?
Owner,
So you want to call businesses where maybe the owner is present.
yes.
So you can walk in, you're not walking in with the brochures,
Nothing.
and you might look around and, like, what would be your opening line?
My name is Amy with CoCard. I'd like to introduce myself and have a few minutes of your time.
Okay.
I'm very direct. I'm very short. They know that I'm there.
They might say, I'm busy,
Business.
can you come back later? And then you might set an
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, I would say at least 50% of my business is new business. I'd rather get new accounts. It's a lot easier, as everybody knows, to get new accounts than to get somebody to switch who has an existing system. Of course, unless that's if they're moving from a terminal into a point of sale, then that's an easy switch. But if they have a point of sale, then that's obviously harder. So
Then you focus maybe on their card processing?
yes, yeah, I do a lot. I don't do the SaaS model, which I want to move towards, but I do large margins because the Clover is locked. So I do large transaction fees, large basis points. I do Interchange Plus, but I've just increased my margins, and I've seen absolutely no pushback. I sell the technology as a tool to earn the merchant services. Mine is flipped, which I heard somebody else say, versus selling on the SaaS model, which you're making the
Right.
revenue on the actual software, hardware. I make more. I've increased my margins significantly by selling on the technology side. When I solicit, for instance, if I sell over the phone, which I don't do a lot of, but surprisingly it's more successful than I would have initially thought. I used to never do anything over the phone because I didn't think there would be any success in it. I strictly did everything face-to-face because I thought if I could introduce myself, they could see how hardworking I am, how honest I am, how, just that I could show them, that they could see in my eyes that I'm going to work my butt off for you. So,
Is it typically a two-call close where you might want to get your hands on their statement and do an analysis and then come back and propose something to them?
Again, a lot of it recently has been new business, so they're not even focused on the merchant services. I could sell it at 0.99
But
above
does it take
interchange.
you
I
two
can sell
times to come? How many times do you have to go back to?
probably 2 or 3. I'm not a push. I like to actually say to them. I'd like to, I leave my rates. A lot of people aren't willing to leave information as far as pricing.
You might
is
go ahead and
concerned.
just show them the
I show all my cards because again, I'm trying to show them that I'm full disclosure that hey, I'm here. I'll give you the information. A lot of companies won't do that, but I'm open to doing that to again show them that I'm an open book. That I'm here. I'll give it to you. You shop it. That's your right as a consumer, and then I will follow up. I do what it takes, the follow up, the persistence behind it to get, which even if they talk to their bank or whatever, they drop the ball. So I got it. It's fine. I'll pick it up. You know what I mean? That's majority what happens is that if I talk to somebody, I'm confident that, and I'm floored every time if they go another direction. I'm like, say what? No, that didn't just happen. But
And you rarely lose a contract.
yeah, no.
Thank you.
And like her, I service, they know that
They can call you.
they call me, I help them, proof is in the pudding, I get a lot of referrals, but I do still, in order to generate more business,
You do
I do
both.
still go door to door.
Great. Neil, out of curiosity, a lot of us in the room would love to get into B&B and understand pay trace. I think you piqued the interest of all of us in here. Can you give it, not to be your competition, you guys call nationally, you go all over the country?
Well,
Or do you focus on any SIC? How do you prospect? I guess my question is, how do you prospect?
so we have a telemarketer through telephone, and he focuses supposedly on a geographic area that we try to limit it to, except every once in a while we have a lead in Massachusetts or California, and he comes up with a story why, which you can deal with over the phone. We primarily like to go into a geographic region that we can get to, go out there and see them. We've heard for years, it's kind of interesting that the two girls are saying kind of the same thing I'm saying now. I've heard how people always want to work smart and focus on your time and energy is where it's going to be most rewarding and all that. Well, I learned a long time ago, I'm not that smart. So I would just go out there, and I'm like a bulldog salesman. Once I get in, I'm not letting go. So you tell me yes or no, because anything in between, I'm going to be in your face all day, every day until I get the answer.
So your prospector, your canvasser might target a certain SIC.
Yeah, but both geographic area, he picks industries, different industries all the time.
That you guys
like
know
I said,
have a larger ticket, it might
Yeah,
be.
B2B stuff, there's lists.
There's lists.
We can talk, so to your first point, anything you want to know at any time, Rich and I are available, especially Rich, available to answer or help you guys in any which way. It's not competition, you're not our competitor, it's a big world. There's plenty out there. Stay away from our area. Whatever guidance you want. It really boils down to, it's like everything else. You need a little bit of an understanding, the interchange, the industries that you're talking to the people, but if you can sell, you can sell. It's a different sale than the retail restaurant POS that we're accustomed to. It's a more professional clientele. You're going to get intelligent questions. You're not going to, service is not going to be, my printer ran out of paper, 12 o'clock midnight, what am I going to do? So I enjoy that part of it much better. It's a much longer sales cycle. There have been one time walk-in closed the deal right there, but that's not the norm. You're not dealing with the principal. You've got a lot of links in that chain that can only say no. If they say yes, they push up the next level. So it can be difficult. That CFO, he's supposed to be making fiduciary responsibility for what's best for his company, but he's covering his ass because what if now he goes to the CEO and says, we can save a lot of money, this product's better, Well, CEO says, hey, that's great. Why didn't you come up with this 5 years ago? You're not doing your job. Or he's afraid that if it might not work, now he's the one that looks bad because he's making that decision. So there's different obstacles you have to overcome. But it is, like I said earlier, it's a stickier business. The profit margins are higher. There's a greater potential for that growth. A lot of these companies got started, the B2B world, in taking credit cards because maybe they had an account that wasn't paying them. So they had some accounts receivables that they opened up to. All of a sudden, they see it works so easy. They're getting paid the next day, most probably. All card types, they're paying 1.5%, 2%. They say, all of a sudden, that $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 a month client becomes $1 million a month, or whatever that number may be, and you didn't really reduce your profit margin, but if you did a few basis points, now it becomes a nice, profitable account.
How important is that person on the phone prospecting for you guys over the years?
It is, it's very important. I mean, he's the guy,
What's his typical opening? I know you don't have a script of credit. When he calls one of these businesses, what might he say, or
I'm
she?
afraid of what he might say. I don't know.
All right, if you want the script, will you send us the script over?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a, like I said, there's a, we go Thomas.net, we get leads off of that. And it's industry specific, and I'm looking at him, he'll talk about, if you're doing business to business stuff, he says, if you're familiar with level 3, and the other guy in the other industry may or may not say yes or no, who knows, and I don't know what Peter tells him because it's kind of scary sometimes when he comes back to us with what his
But he's
conversation.
targeting the accounting department, maybe?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Absolutely, yeah. Accounts receivable manager, controller, the CFOs. He'll talk to anybody and just try to get in. I mean, it's a strange cat to do telemarketing because let's start from there. And he's at the top of that list, but he's good. And when he started with us, about 2 or 3 months into it, there was no results. We weren't really getting anything. And Rich and I would say, well, we really thought he was going to be good. He had a lot of experience. Maybe it's time to let him go. And then just as we said that, boom, things started happening, And it's 5 or 6 years he's with us. So it's worth it.
Yeah. Alejandro, I know you told me once that when you go out and prospect, and maybe you're not doing more, you have reps or training, things like that, but you would walk into a place with an iPad. And you had a couple questions, you'd have 3 or 4 things. Can you just tell us when you walk into a place what you might say to somebody?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things, especially when we're out canvassing. That's the primary way that we're building up leads and contacts in the area. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is sell a presentation or a demonstration in person. So most of our presentations are done in person. We're trying to meet with the restaurant owner so we can show them the value. And so the whole purpose of us walking in the door is to really get that value proposition. So when we're holding an iPad in our hands, it could be an iPad mini, it could be an iPad Air, but it looks modern, and we'll walk in and simply ask for the manager and say, hey, have you ever thought about using iPads in your business? Just a conversation opener. We're starting the discussion. Usually what will happen is they'll point over to their Grubhub terminal and their Seamless or whatever it is, and they'll say, yeah, we have tablets in our business, we're using them right over there. And I said, well, how much are you really paying for those iPads over there? Well, Grubhub's really expensive. It costs me 20% for my online ordering. So the next follow-up question after that is, well, what if we could eliminate 20% of your online ordering sales by using Mobile Bytes online ordering? Can we set up a presentation to do that? Well, I got to talk to the owner. Well, let me just give you a 5-minute preview of what we would show you and the owner. So we're really trying to make that restaurant manager look really good. We're turning them into an advocate, and we're going to present cost savings and pricing when we meet with the actual owner.
So your way to the owner to go in and get the managers all geeked up, that this is going to make his job easier, save the company money, so he or she could be a hero. And then your next step is to set up an appointment in front of the principal at some point? Or a group of principals?
Yeah, so every restaurant manager has some level of frustration with their job, whether it's they're doing all the tasks in the front of the house or they're doing too much stuff in the back of the house. They're not better able to manage the front of the house items. And so through that conversation, the next part of that, through the first 30 seconds to a minute, we'll like to uncover where we can show some value, a little bit of value to that manager. So if it's, I'm always in the back and I'm not able to better manage my servers and I have a lot of turnover through my servers, we'll come up with a solution. Well, what if I could just put an iPad in your hands and you would be able to do your reports while you're on the floor and keep a better eye on your servers and help you with your restaurant turnover.
Good, thank you. Your average, just one last question. So you're focusing on larger volume restaurants. What's your typical average terminal size for, like, you average, if you did an average terminal, what's your sweet spot?
I'd say the sweet spot is right around 4 or 5 terminals.
4 to 5?
Yeah, I'd like to add a couple iPad minis in there for tableside ordering, but, again, the adoption percentage is still relatively small for tableside ordering. There's a little bit of fear still with bringing a piece of technology in front of the consumer. But once they're comfortable enough by having the iPad replacing their legacy fixed terminal, it's a great add-on.
So mostly you're replacing legacy stuff now, pretty much.
Yeah, I'd say most of the places that we're walking into, we're always looking for the low-hanging fruit, which are the new restaurant openings. In our market, there's always restaurants closing in the same location and reopening, right? So we consider that to be net new business when we're getting into a location that closes and they open up a new location.
Dennis, you're selling the same product, mobile bike, same product, but your niche is a little different than what he's calling it. You're calling on never new businesses, the 1 to 3 terminal market typically, mom, pops, they might not even own a point of sale, and you're on the phone. How do you create credibility and trust by using maybe third-party reference, or how do you, when you get somebody on the phone, how do you get them to trust you?
That's a good question. Well, typically, Carissa, the gal in the office, she's the one that does all the prospecting, gets them on the phone, and she's got a great personality, so she gets them warmed up a little bit by the time I call them. So she sets the appointment, I call the people on the phone. One of the things you'll find out about doing all of your demos or whatever ones you do, that you do them online, they're a lot easier to set appointments for. In other words, you can set 2-3 times more appointments, online appointments, than you can in-person appointments. So they're a lot easier to set, but there's a higher percentage of them that cancel. Forgot about it. I got a doctor's appointment today I forgot about, so can we reset this? Or I woke up this morning. I had a guy the other day that sent me a text. I was supposed to be doing a meeting with him like 10 minutes, and he sent me a text and he said, I can't, or an email. He said, sir, I can't do it today. I hurt my leg. So I'm figuring, if you hurt your leg, then obviously you're sitting at home, right? And so I ended up calling him anyways, and he answered the phone. And I said, hey, sorry to hear about the leg. And anyways, I built a little rapport with him. We ended up resetting the appointment. So what I do when I get him on the phone, I have a PowerPoint presentation that we built. And so when I get them logged in on that, I go through some company background stuff and so forth. And then we go into, I have a whole series of these different needs analysis questions that I ask. So John, so first of all, I tell you what, just to, help me understand your business a little bit. I mean, obviously I know what you do and with the business you're in, but can you give me just a little bit of background into your business, as far as your business history, how you got started, how long you've been in business and so forth. And I think everybody knows in here that most people love to talk about themselves. So these people will really start going on. I mean, I can do these needs analysis for sometimes they're 20 minutes long with these people because they just love talking about their business and how they got started. And now we added this and we built on another, patio now and back. And, they just love talking about it. So that time and that needs analysis that I do is really where I build up build the rapport with them. And now, based on the time that I've been doing this, in most of the areas that I'm calling into now in these small little towns in all these different states, I have clients of mine now that are usually within miles of these people. So when I get on the phone with them and I'm talking with them and I'll say, gee, by the way, you're in, whatever, and part of or whatever their town is, and I go, yeah, don't you know a place over there called the Joe's Bistro or whatever, and they, oh yeah, I know him. And so I really name drop a lot of other customers that I've sold over the years that are it might be 20 miles from them, might be 25, but in some cases it's even closer than that. So I've been kind of blanketing these areas in these small little towns because nobody chases them. Nobody goes after them. And these people don't get calls, for POS systems at all because but nobody's driving 100 and some miles away from their city, to go on one call. They're not going to do it. So that's where I come in, and I do all these areas where nobody goes into. So it's been really lucrative. And for those of you that want to, even for those of you that are going out and seeing people, and you're going out and doing presentations face to face, if you take a look at some of the time that you have that is downtime when you're not always in your car or standing in front of somebody, you could be on the phone doing a phone demo maybe once, twice, 3 times a week, when you got the hours. So you can use it as kind of a fill-in, but the success rate can be very, very high from it. So.
Thank you. Karen, you mentioned that all your business is referral-based, and you mentioned BNI, and does that just come off of, most of your referrals off osmosis because you deliver such a quality service that they automatically refer friends? Is there any other tools that anybody here could use we all love referrals. Wouldn't it be great if we could all just work off of referrals? And you've done a pretty good job. Is there any other secrets you might be able to share with us on how to build that network?
It comes down, and you hear this a lot, but it comes down to the relationship. And if you have the relationship and you build on the relationship, you're going to grow the network. And you can grow the relationship with prospects that you met at maybe a networking meeting. Somebody refers you, go on LinkedIn. Go look at their profile. Find out something unique about them or something that you have in common. Maybe they have in their interest that they like running and you like running. So when you open up the conversation, say, hey, I saw on LinkedIn that you like running. Do you just run casually? Do you run marathons? Do you run half marathons? Start a conversation. Maybe they went to the same school you did. Maybe there's something obscure, like they speak Polish. I actually contacted somebody on LinkedIn. He was fluent in Polish. I thought that was cool, and I had sent him a congratulation message about something, and I commented on it and said, tell me more about that. Like, how did you come across, maybe his parents are Polish. I don't know. So you can build just with a relationship, more personal things with the people. And as far as current customers, those relationships, I try to keep those going, whether it's a phone call occasionally. Some of my customers have gotten to be very good friends. So now we've got more of a personal relationship where I can ask more personal questions and we can have some really nice conversations. But for the customers that I don't necessarily have that deep of a relationship with, I stay in contact with them on a regular basis. I'm always in front of them. Every 3 months, they will get a postcard from me, non-work related postcard. And it might be something, it's National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day in November. And they would get a postcard from me that says, hey, Thanksgiving is a week. It's National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day. Get those leftovers out so you can make room for the leftover turkey. So just fun stuff like that. Every 3 months, those get sent out. And then every year, during the month that I boarded them, they will always get a card from me, and they get brownies from me through send out cards. Just thanking them for their continued business. And again, it's just another touch point. It's not very difficult. I actually have a virtual assistant that does all of that for me because I really stink at getting that stuff done. But it's important to stay in front of the customers and build that relationship and talk to them. And the other thing is when they do have problems and they are calling me, I have a chance to connect again with them, make things great for them, be the hero for them. That never hurts. And that will deepen my relationship with them, but then they also see what I'm doing with them and they have no hesitation to refer me to their business associates or even family members that are starting up a business. I just got a referral yesterday from a gentleman who I've been processing for several years with him, and his daughter is starting a business. He's like, she needs credit card processing, can you help her out? Cool. So.
Thank you. Open floor. Does anybody have any questions for our panel here today? They covered pretty much. I tried to ask them most of the questions and dive into their business, but and we are pretty much out of time. But if you have a question, Jeff, let's answer them.
How do you get your, I know I have an answer to any of them.
Any of them?
All right. How do you get your commercial leads from B2B? Or is there any specific place that you do?
Like Info USA, or what lead sources do you use? Do you have a source you
We
use?
use Thomas.net to see
Thomas.net.
who's doing business with government, even on government lists. So they're all purchasing. So we're primarily looking for customers that are being paid by people in their business that are using business or purchasing or corporate or commercial cards. Because they're the ones that will qualify for the level 3 data rate 3.
Yeah.
It's ThomasNet, ThomasNet.com.
Yeah, thomasnet.com. Yeah, and so we're running a little bit over, but I just wanted to introduce these folks. Let's give them a hand for sharing some of their